Welcome to today's Coronavirus Cinema Collection. I'm Gail Rubin, the Doyenne of Death, with film recommendations to help you pass the time while hunkering down at home. These are movies that entertain while educating us about end-of-life issues and planning ahead. Today, we're looking at funny funeral films. These are movies that can teach us important lessons about funeral planning. And they have a funeral or multiple funerals as the center of the storyline. One aspect of comedy is watching someone else in pain, and funerals certainly provide plenty of opportunity for pain. Our first movie is Death at a Funeral. The first version of Death at a Funeral came out from the United Kingdom in 2007. There was a US version in 2010 featuring an African-American cast starring Chris Rock and Martin Lawrence. Now, they both have the same storyline with a little bit of different aspects emphasized. However, one thing both movies had in common was Peter Dinklage, who many of you now know as the character from the HBO Game of Thrones series. He actually plays a key role in dark secrets coming to life at a family funeral. Some of the elements that come up in both aspects of Death at a Funeral are the importance of writing a eulogy and the stress that can be involved in writing a eulogy that pays homage to the deceased in an appropriate manner. Another aspect is holding a funeral at home. Home funerals can be done. In both of these movies, these are rather high-end funerals, so there's also another stress about how do you pay for these funerals.
It's just a shame that somebody has to die to get the family together.
It's hard to see Dad like this. He's in a better place now, right? He was sick a long time.
Since when does deadbeat sick?
You know what I mean. That's why I try not to get close to people. Too much emotion involved.
Guess that's why you never call.
Some families see each other all the time. Some meet up at funerals. That's just us.
Hey, listen, I know this is a bad time, but I'm gonna need that money.
Oh, shit.
We're splitting these costs, right?
Okay. But I don't have it right now.
The fuck you mean you don't have it right now? You just bought a first-class ticket for your toothbrush.
I don't have any cash, honest. I lost a lot of shit when the market collapsed. So if you don't mind, we're gonna have to discuss this later.
No. Let's discuss this right now.
Hey, you mind? I'm grieving.
So they're both very funny, and they both emphasize how stressful a funeral can be. Elizabethtown is a 2006 movie which illustrates the difference between geography, Kentucky and Oregon, in terms of cremation versus burial. This is a romantic comedy starring Orlando Bloom, Kirsten Dunst, and Susan Sarandon. In this story, Orlando Bloom plays a young man named Drew, whose father is from Elizabethtown, Kentucky. While visiting family, his father has a heart attack and dies. He's living in Oregon. His mother sends him to Elizabethtown to have Dad cremated and return with his cremated remains to Oregon. However, the family in Kentucky has got other ideas. They want to bury him in the family plot, which has been in the family for 232 years. This movie also shows a wedding as well as a memorial service. Weddings and funerals have very similar elements. And this is rather brilliantly illustrated in this movie, which also has a great soundtrack, shows scenes of cremation scattering, and also just how crazy families can be when it comes to funerals. Undertaking Betty came out in 2006, stars Alfred Molina, Brenda Blethyn, and Christopher Walken. It's another romantic comedy which also features a lot of funerals because Alfred Molina plays Boris Plotz, who is the local traditional funeral director in a small town in Wales. He's in love with Betty. His competition Cremation is Frank Featherbed, played by Christopher Walken. He's the progressive funeral director. Frank Featherbed wants to bring a whole new kind of funeral to this small town in Wales, where there's the theme of the person's life. So this idea of personalizing funerals is very evident in Undertaking Betty.
Would you like an open coffin? It's a long-standing Plots tradition, a true mark of respect. There is, of course, some slight discoloration when someone
Chokes on multifibril brand.
suffocates, but I believe we can remedy that.
Open coffin it is, then.
Well, if you could ring in the garment. Oh, and some recent photos of your mother.
Right, well, Betty will see to that. Won't you, Betty? Boris, thank you very much.
I can't believe it. Councillor Rhys-Jones is having his mother's funeral at Plots.
Well, maybe you were a little too progressive with him.
Funeral fashion. It's the next big thing. The catwalk corpse.
Yeah, well, he didn't seem too keen on the deck of cards theme.
She loved playing cards. Everybody said that.
Yes, but I don't think that was the problem. I think dressing her up as the Queen of Spades, that was the problem.
You have no imagination, Del, but that's your problem. No vision. I want to create a whole new kind of funeral. Keep in mind, the root word of funeral is fun. Fantasy funerals will be the funerals of the future.
Yes, but the people of Rotten Powys are more your ashes to ashes, dust to dust variety.
That's so passé. We have to sell them the concept, that's all. We could do casket of the month.
Casket of the month.
Yes, like flavor of the month. And discounts. People love discounts and coupons. We could do a first funeral, full price, and the second half off. Say the husband drops dead first. The wife comes in with the coupon, pays in advance for her funeral as well, and gets it half off. Is that great, or what? Delbert, if we're gonna work together, you have to trust me. You trust me?
Well, yes, of course.
Good. Featherbed funeral.
So this is a very fun movie that also has elements of the idea of planning ahead for a funeral is a very valuable thing to do. The Six Wives of Henry LeFay is a 2009 movie that features Tim Allen as Henry LeFay, who, as you might guess from the title, has been married a few times. At the beginning of the film, it looks like Henry LeFay has been killed in a parasailing accident in Mexico, which prompts his current wife, who is about the same age as his daughter, and his ex-wives come together at the funeral home, where conflict erupts because Henry has written personal letters to each of his ex-wives, and they're all arguing that the letter that they have is the one that's correct. So even though Henry pre-planned and updated his will, there's still conflict because he left this trail of changes. So this is a very important point to make, that yes, do express your wishes and do keep your wills and trusts updated. I'd like to give an honorable mention to Harold and Maude, which does have funerals in it, but it is not fully about funerals in that film.
What a delight it is, Harold, to bump into you again. I knew we were going to be good friends the moment I saw you. You go to funerals often, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so do I. They're such fun, aren't they? It's all change, all revolving. Burials and births, one linked to the other. The great circle of life.
So we'll be looking at Harold and Maude in another edition of Coronavirus Cinema Collections. Now you'll find links to all of these films in the description below if you want to go to Amazon and check them out. If you've got other funny films about funerals that you want to recommend, please post them in the comments. And if you want to see more of these videos, please subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up. And by the way, I do virtual presentations using film clips from these movies. So send me a note if you'd like to talk. I'm Gail Rubin, the Doyenne of Death, reminding you to wash your hands and remember that talking about sex won't make you pregnant and talking about funerals won't make you dead. Start a conversation today.